Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jasmine and welcome to Jasmine's Library. I'm sorry y'all, I had to put back on my glasses because you know what I mean, because I filmed like 2 other videos, but I had to put them back on because the lights was blinding me and I couldn't see my note card, and I'm trying to get this done before my baby wake up. But yeah, June was an amazing month for me. I read 11, is it 11? Yeah, I read 11 books this month. Applause for me. Because yes, I did the dang thing. I read audiobooks, I read physical books. I think I read one or two ebooks. Like, y'all, it was an amazing month. And it was also an amazing month for authors of color for me. I read a lot of books by authors of color, and I'm so proud of that because I felt like I've been missing out on so many works by authors of color. But I definitely made it up this month, and I'm going to continue to make it up for the next 6 months that I have in this year, because there are a lot of authors of color and women of color who have published amazing stories this year, and I got to go show my support. So to start it off with, I read, well, this is a reread for me. I read this while I was in middle school, and it is called If I Have to Tell You I Love You, I Have to Kill You. I might have butchered that name just a little bit, but it is by Allie Carter, and it was just an amazing reread for me because I felt like I needed to read a book by Allie because she's a really good author, and I was thinking about all the books that I have read in the past while I was in middle school and high school, and she was one that popped up in my mind, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about, or they don't talk about her a lot when they talk about why they started reading or what they used to read while they were in middle school. So I just wanted to plant this little seed just in case you want to go and check her out. She writes spy novels about the Gallagher girls in this academy that is filled with women who learn how to be spies for the FBI, CIA, Secret Service, all of that. And we are following the main character, Cammie, who in this book she falls in love with a boy out in the town that her school is located in, and she's not supposed to do that. And so it was really nice to read about her falling in love or falling in like with this boy, knowing that she is not supposed to, while also trying to focus on her spy studies and getting to know a new girl who has come to the school who she feels low-key doesn't belong there. And it was nice because I remember feeling that way when I was in school. So yeah, moving on. My second read that I did this month is The Churros of Standing Still. I rated this book a 5 out of 5 stars because Jessica Brody, she pulled at my heartstrings. And I feel like she really pulled out my heartstrings because, I don't know, I feel like I've been reading a lot of grief-stricken books for the last couple of months that make me feel some type of way, and I can't help it. Like, I've just been reading them, and the authors that I have been choosing to read the books like this that fall into the category, they have been blowing my mind. Jessica Brody did her thing in this one. This is about a girl who lost her best friend to a car accident, and she has one single text message from her best friend. I'm just about to tear up just thinking about it. By her best friend. She got food poisoning, and she was supposed to be in the car with her best friend, but she got sick. So she was at home while her friend got in the car accident. And so she gets stuck in the Denver airport and during a really bad snowstorm. Go figures, because I live in Colorado, and I was reading this book while I was traveling through the Denver airport, and it talks about the airport and the setting and the scenes and the emotions and the atmosphere. The author did an amazing piece of work, because now I really want to talk to the author to get to know if she went to the Denver airport. Like, how does she know so much? Like, how does she research? Like, I want to know all of this. But also back to the story. It's just so much that I want to tell you guys about this book. The main character, Ren, you follow her life without her best friend now. And when I was in high school, just like how the main character was, my best friend, she got diagnosed with the disease called VHL. And she had to have a couple surgeries throughout our time in high school, and one time she had to have a really important emergency surgery, and it really scared me, and I really was scared that I was going to lose my best friend. And when I was reading this book, I completely understood what she was going through, because my best friends are my life. I absolutely love my best friends, and to understand what she was going through and how she was feeling, I can't even like talk about it. And then the last part in the book, I will tell you guys, because you need to go and read it, so that's why I'm not really going into detail, is that they have this thing that they say, and it goes like, do you want to hear something funny? And then the other one responds, always. And that was the text message, you guys. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. And it brought, oh my God, like it just makes me want to cry. But moving on. My next book that I read is called My Sister, the Serial Killer. I can't pronounce this author's name, but I will be definitely putting this because y'all need to read it. It is about a girl who is an older sister. And if you watch my June book haul, then you'll understand why I'm getting so aggressive talking about this book. So in the book, it is about this older sister, and she's like the ugly duckling or whatever, while her younger sister is beautiful and amazing, and all the guys want her. But the older sister, she has a doctor that she works with that she is absolutely in love with, and she keeps her work life and her home life separate. But then one day, her sister comes to her job, and y'all know what happened. I don't even gotta say it. Yes, her sister ends up starting to go out with a doctor that her older sister likes. But the side note is that her sister always kills her boyfriends. And the older sister always helps her get rid of the bodies, y'all. I know, right? Always. So then the younger sister's excuse is, oh, he was really aggressive towards me and blah, 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 blah. And then the sister starts to have her doubts, because it's no way that all these men can be aggressive towards her sister. Now, it's just so much. Like the family dynamic, I hate it. I hate when the older sibling is always the responsible one, has to take care of the younger one. No, the younger one needs to suck it up and handle her business and be in charge of what's going on for her own self. But you know that doesn't happen. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, due to the fact that I was really upset that the older sister still covered for the younger sister. At the end of the book, when the younger sister tried to stab and kill the doctor in the story that the older sister was into. I hope you guys are keeping up with this. But if not, go and read the story so y'all can read and feel how I felt. Because this don't make no dang sense, y'all. It don't. But anywho, yeah, it was a good book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, the book that I read was called Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. Sugar is a young woman who I think this book takes place in 1955. Yeah, in 1955, she grew up in a prostitute house in a small town in Arkansas. And you're just following her journey about why she doesn't really cherish herself and why she is the way that she is, and why love just isn't like a thing for her. And the backstories is crazy. It starts off with a little girl getting raped and butchered and how the family copes with it. But then Sugar comes to town, and Sugar looks exactly like the young woman's daughter who got raped and slaughtered. And then you find out that the lady's husband actually had an affair with the lady in the town that Sugar grew up with, and that was her mama. And so that's why she looks like the little girl who got raped and butchered. Sis. God dang! Yes, it is crazy. So much goes on, and come to find out, there's a sequel to this book. So you know, I'm gonna hop right to it. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because at the end of the book, Sugar could have put everybody on the town in blast in church while she was leaving, but she chose not to. And it hurt my heart because she should have let that, she should have let it rip, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. I just kicked the tripod. She should have let it rip, and she didn't. She's a good person, because I would have let it rip, and that would have gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. But she did not. So I'm gonna leave it alone. For my next book that I read a book called I Think I Might Love You by Christina C. Jones off of Kindle Unlimited. And this author did an amazing job creating this story. It is about a girl who had trouble in her past, and she was a juvenile delinquent. And it starts off with a whole bunch of action. The girl's boyfriend, that she thought was her boyfriend, is actually married to another woman, and she found out about it. She wrecked his car, and so she goes over to her sister's apartment that she has a key to, and she didn't know that her sister rented out her apartment. She subleased her apartment to somebody else, and she goes in, and he walks out butt naked, you guys, and she ends up boxing him in the face. If you don't understand what boxing is, that's like punching, but where I'm from, we call it boxing. But sorry, just a little side note for that. But yes, it was an amazing story, and the guy who was butt naked in the beginning and the girl who punched him ended up falling in love and needing each other and growing. And it's such a beautiful story because they try to act all hard to get like they don't want each other and yada yada yada, but then they end up wanting each other, and it's real juicy. So yeah, you should go and read it. Kindle Unlimited is $10.99 a month, and worth it because there are a lot of authors and publishing companies who give authors of a smaller scale a chance to showcase their work. So you guys should definitely go and use Kindle Unlimited. This is not sponsored, but it should be sponsored, low-key. So moving on to my next book, I read Hold On Tight by Abby Glines. This is a physical book that I actually read this month. One of the two, because all the other ones were either ebooks or freaking audiobooks. But yeah, as you know, in my May wrap up, I talked about Abby Glines and how much I really enjoyed her work, and this book was no exception. This is about a girl named Sienna. That name is so pretty. About Sienna and her boyfriend Dustin. They have sex in high school. He ends up dying in a car crash after the last time they have sex. She finds out she's pregnant. She moves away because her parents are really judgmental and Christian-like. No offense, but we all know how Christian parents can be. Like, truly deeply religious Christian parents can be. And she got shipped off to her aunt. They struggle. Her aunt really doesn't want her and her baby. And 6 years later, her dad dies. Her mom apologizes and she moves back home. And you find out that she always wanted her ex-boyfriend's, well, her deceased boyfriend's older brother. And that's him. And that's them. And it has a little, you know, sexiness in the book. It's not a lot, but it's enough. And that's what I like about Abby Glines. She doesn't try to overpower the sexiness in the book because the actual story can do well without it. And that's what I really love about her, that I'm coming to notice that she adds a little bit of spice in it, but it's still a lot of sugar. So yeah, this was a really good read. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars because I feel like her books, I kind of like how they're all connected in a way, but I kind of don't. So that's why I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. But there's definitely nothing wrong with this author and the way that she writes. She does an amazing job. So I am so excited to talk about this book with you guys. It is called Song of Blood and Stone. I was at the library a couple weeks ago and I went through the African American section, and this book was there and the cover got me. Like, do you not see this cover? Like, oh my God, she is beautiful. And I was like, what is this about? So this is about an orphan named Jasminda, and she has powers, and she falls in love with a guy of a different culture who she falls in love with a guy of a different culture, and you see how her having powers and her having the skin color that she does, the natives of this country do not like her, but she ends up falling in love with one, El Syrian. I think that's what it is, the country's name, El Syrian. And the battle between Lagmira, y'all, I be butchering these names, but y'all know this by now. I'm gonna butcher people's name, and I'm so sorry. But these are the two countries, and her father was from the L word country, while her mother was from the E word country, and they obviously have different characteristics. The L word country has people with darker skin tone with powers, and the E country have lighter skin tones with lighter eyes. And it's really interesting because in the beginning, the guy, he is a captive of the L word country, and he breaks through the border into the land that Jasmine is occupying, and she helps him with Earth Song, which is the powers. But later on in the book, you find out that he is the rightful heir to the throne for the E country. So while I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, like, is this another Children of Blood and Bone like comparison? And I just have so many questions because this is an adult version of Children of Blood and Bone. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars due to the fact that the development in the beginning could have been a lot smoother, just a little bit, for us to like pick up. Well, for me to pick up personally. I don't know, you guys should go and read it so you can tell me how you feel about it. But in all actuality, I feel like this is a good comparison to Children of Blood and Bone due to the fact that there's the magic, there's the different race colored cards that happens in Children of Blood and Bone, the freaking skin tone, the love. It's just like looking at an older Zell, but not really. It's crazy. Like, it blows my mind because there's so much alike that's going on in this book, and I'm just curious to know if Tony Adamy got inspiration from this book because of the similarities. But I'm not judging anything at all. It was a really good read, and I really enjoyed it, especially because it's fantasy. I love Children of Blood and Bone. Then you should read this one and tell me what you think, because this is just Children of Blood and Bone on an adult scale. So, moving on. Another ebook that I read off of Kindle Unlimited is called The Secrets Between Me and You, Boo by Jessina Gray. This book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars due to the fact that a lot of urban fiction books are, in my opinion, following the same scale. I don't know why I have that pen. I shouldn't be doing that. But are following the same scale. And I feel like we need to break out of that. Every urban fiction book shouldn't follow the same exact plot, same exact scale. Urban fiction community, authors and readers alike, we should be branching off, not making everything the same to where it can be easily predicted. But this book wasn't bad. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the situations. I enjoyed the love. But it had a lot of action, and I'm not downplaying that. I'm just downplaying the typical statistics of urban fiction, and then how a lot of new authors are still writing along the same lines. Like, I need something different. I need us to break out of that mold that everyone is putting us in, and showcasing the different abilities that we can bring to the writing community. This book was good. I enjoyed it, but it could have been better in a sense. I know this is still like an up and coming author, but I feel like she has the potential to blow everyone from different genres who like different things out of the water. So, for the last books that I'm actually going to talk about, I'm going to talk about 3 books right now from the to Tiffany D. Jackson. Like I mentioned before, I am a part of a Women of Color Facebook group, and we talk about books, they refer books, and I kept seeing this book called Allegedly constantly popping up, and I'm like, oh my god, let me just go read the synopsis on Goodreads. It is about a young girl at the age of 9 who allegedly commits a crime of killing a 3-month-old girl named Melissa, and you get to know her at her current state of 15 going into 16, where she ends up pregnant, and now she wants to speak out because they're talking about taking her baby, and how she's never going to really amount to anything because she's a killer. But in all actuality, this young woman is very smart, highly intelligent, and she has the possibility of really having a future and going to college and being successful. So now she wants to tell her story of what actually really happens, and the dynamic between her and her mother is horrible. Like, I think I really honestly feel some type of way, because it's a true dynamic of what most girls in the Black community go through. There's something mentally wrong with her mother. She takes pills. Sometimes she's really down. And from my point of view, I feel like she might have bipolarism or even schizophrenia, because there's little points in the book when the main character talks about her mother, and her mother openly admits to the main character that she hears things in her head. So you're dealing with that, the mother and daughter family dynamic, the daughter not knowing who her father is and what's going on. Also dealing with the mother stating that in a point of the book that they go easy on kids with crimes. So just do this for your mama, because they're not going to be easy. They're going to go harder on me than they are you. So you're going through this. Well, I'm going through this book thinking that the mama really did it. Y'all, why did the author do this to me? The girl actually did it, man. She really did it. And I'm like, oh my god. Because up until the last maybe 5 pages, you think that the mama did it. No, it was the girl. She killed the little baby. Oh my god. And then everything clicks and makes sense. There is actually something wrong with the little girl. She was just able to hide it. Like, this girl is a little Ted Bundy, low-key. Low-key. She could be a little Ted Bundy. Like, the author, she surprised me so much. Like, I was not expecting that plot twist. It just smacked me in the face. So I was like, wow, like, this was a really good book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because she surprised me and made it wasn't no allegedly anymore. Like, the girl actually did it. So that's what, like, low-key hurt my feelings, because I was all for the little girl. Like, oh, that mama is bad and da-da-da-da. But it was actually the little girl. So, had to reel everything back in. And so after that, I was like, you know what? This author was really good. Like, that, really got me. So I knew she had another book called Monday's Not Coming. So I was like, you know what? What if she's really not good and it was just like this one book? Psych. I read Monday's Not Coming, and it is about a young girl whose best friend named Monday goes missing. And you follow her through the year leading up until her best friend's body is found. Also jumping back and forth between before, when her best friend was alive, and talking about their experience at school and dancing and stuff like that in the DC area. And Following this story, it was amazing because this little girl did not give up. She knew something was wrong, while other adults in the book were like, you know, you don't know who she really is. And at a certain aspect, yes, she really did not know what was truly going on with her friend, but she knew her friend was not going to not stay in contact with her, was not going to come to school because she loved school. It was just amazing the way that this author created this world and this situation for this 13-year-old girl to go through. And you would think that the main character was so strong and was dealing with it. But guess what? Tiffany, can I call you Tiffany? she threw another plot twist in the book. At the end of the book, when they find the body and all the adults are sad because her best friend was found in a deep freezer along with her brother named August in the deep freezer in the house, and that traumatizes Claudia, who is Monday's best friend, and she constantly hears the buzzing of the deep freezer. This is crazy. As well as the plot twist at the end of the book is that this scenario happens when they are like 13, 14. Come to present day, Claudia is actually 16, and she was so traumatized by what happened to her one and only true best friend that she calls her soulmate, that she goes back to that time frame when she is 13 and 14 years old, and she relives it, and she's constantly searching for Monday. And it broke my heart that she was so traumatized by what happened that she'll leave present day and go back to 2 years ago in her mind. And they took her out of whole, and it was crazy because throughout the book, it was actually present day when you would think that this was all happening while she was still 13 or 14 years old, and that is not the case. And my whole heart, because in one part of the book, y'all, Claudia goes behind her parents' back and goes to the police station and is like, my friend's missing, and the police officer is like, well, the detective is like, no, we don't have time for your silly games. Like, you see this wall, this is full of runaway girls. Like, your best friend could have just ran away and not. And so when they discover Monday's body, it's the same detective to come to her house, to come to Claudia's house to talk to her, and Claudia's looking him dead in the face, and he can't even meet her eyes. Like, yeah, man, it's all your fault, because if you would have investigated what Claudia was trying to tell you, y'all would have found Monday's body sooner. I'm sorry, I got out of character. Like, I felt so emotionally connected to this story, and I just felt some type of way that Tiffany Jackson, she got me there. She really got me. So after reading Monday's Not Coming, I was obsessed. Like, her writing style had me hooked, and I knew because of the Facebook group that I'm in that she came out with a book recently called Let Me Hear Rhyme. So script, and I listened to Let Me Hear Rhyme, and you guys, this book was amazing as well. This author does not surprise me. She is very creative, and I just want to know what's going through her mind and where she's getting her inspiration. This book is about two friends and a sister to a guy named Stefan who gets shot and killed, and he seems like a happy-go-lucky person, but he has some secrets that they do not know anything about. And so when he dies unexpectedly, they find out that he was really into music, and the friends decide they do not want to let his legacy die, and they want to broadcast it to the world. So the two friends and the sister decide to showcase his work like he's still alive, when in all actuality he is actually dead. And you follow their journey with that, but you also follow the journey of them dealing with grief, trying to find out who killed Stefan, and also trying to see and deal with what type of people they want to be and what they want to bring into the world. And it is amazing because the time frame for this book is set in 1998 or 1997, one of those, when Biggie and Tupac actually died. And so this means this is like prior to the early 2000s, and the depiction of this book and the way she transports you back to that time frame is amazing. I absolutely loved this story. The sister's name in the book, guess what? It's named Jasmine. And it was really nice because Jasmine, she is an amazing singer. She is really amazing at music, but she did not want to pursue anything of that such due to the fact that she felt like she had bigger fish to fry and she can't waste time on little dreams like that. And I hate when that happens because you don't want to do anything that doesn't make you honestly, truly happy inside. And music made Jasmine so happy. And she really wants to do that, but she knows that she needs to pursue something else that's easier for her to make money than wasting a couple of years working on music and not being honestly successful. But in the end, she actually does become successful because, as well as her brother, rest his soul, signs with an actual record company, she signs as well. And it's a really good coming of age story because at one point in time, I felt like myself. I really didn't know what to do, and I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't follow along that direct path. And I'm just so happy that Jasmine was actually able to achieve and do what she really wants to do and what really makes her happy. So that is the end of my reading wrap up for June. And I just want to say that I had an amazing month. And I'm so proud of how many books I've read. And I'm so proud of the diversity of the different books that I read this month. And side note, if you like Gillian Flynn, then you would definitely like Monday's Not Coming and Allegedly. You would love these books by Tiffany D. Jackson if you really liked Gillian Flynn. So I feel like you guys should give it a chance. Go read this author, Tiffany D. Jackson, because it is worth the while. It is worth the read. And you just got to give it a chance. Step outside your box. Step outside your comfort zone. And you never know what you will find by a different author in a different genre. Because everybody creates different content. And everybody's vision is different. But until next time, you guys, follow me on Instagram at jasminereadsaboutit, as well as on Twitter at jasminereadsit, because I am constantly on one of those two platforms besides filming, and you will be able to see beforehand what I'm reading throughout the month before my annual month wrap up comes out. So, see you later.